This is Sam Putnam.
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 There is one company that Trump has indirectly contributed to the growth of. This is an energy company, and if you saw the Project Stargate was the initial $500 billion agreement where the government provides the regulatory oversight and the lack of permitting is essentially how that manifests to allow these big companies like Nvidia, like Meta, to build out massive AI infrastructure. All that to say, the one company that Trump is enabling is an energy company. It's ticker symbol GEV. And if you haven't taken a look at this company, you want to take a look at it sooner rather than later. Now, let's jump into the chart so we can get a little bit granular instead of super duper hypey. Here's the chart, okay? You could know nothing about this company and say, of all the times to buy this, it looks like a good time. You've got a higher low here, which indicates there was a lot of demand, okay, and then there was some supply, okay, meaning that demand was overbought. But the demand came back, okay? So we went from this type of channel and had a change of character to the upside to a new type of channel. And what we also like is this is an all-times high chart, and we have some pretty clear levels just over the past few months going into late July, particularly around 660s. We have this high, 667, 77. And now we're actually at a level here as well, 645 or so. So this little red day is just sort of a picture of the market, which was red today. If we look at Nvidia, it also had a pretty significant red day today, even after its $100 billion investment in OpenAI news. We're not too concerned with that, although the market, of course, has been on an absolute tear. We don't want to bet against what is historically a bull market, but of course, we saw what happened during the tariff uncertainties, and we could get another little pullback here. We get pullbacks periodically. Sometimes we get them for an entire year. We are in an AI bubble, and that bubble just keeps growing bigger and bigger, okay? So maybe we like inhabiting that bubble. So here's GEV. Here's what we like technically if you're a super duper nerd or you want to become one in the stock realm. We see all these lines coming together. Those are moving averages, and they just indicate what we see with our eyes, which is that this thing is coiling and getting tight, which we like those. I usually use the word compressed. We like when we have a compression happening here because, you know, it's going to have to pick a direction. And of course, we want it to go up. Could go down, but this one looks like it's more likely to go up because this higher low is here. So those are the levels. You know, you risk a few bucks, 625 maybe. Just going back to early August, maybe you're able to get in and risk just $1 or $2 and make 10, 20, 30. Remember, of course, the, you know, not so glamorous reality is that the best investors in the world are wrong about, you know, 60, sometimes even 70% of the time. And then when they're right, they just hold on and sell a little bit into strength. But we don't have to get too into the theory of investing when we have opportunities like GE, Vernova right in front of us. This is a spin-off of GE, okay? But it's for the modern world, we could say, as the brand consultant would say. These are the similar companies that we want to take a look at, Bloom Energy and Plug, and they recently had massive moves, which is why this is all the more appetizing. So Bloom is just on an insane run. This is a double, okay? And then Plug also just went nuclear, no pun intended, up 100% in a couple weeks or less. So this is the next opportunity in my eyes. I don't know that you can necessarily call this Trump's energy stock verbatim, even though I did use that in the title and headline thumbnail. So the point is, though, that Trump is all about AI with Stargate, the 500 billion project, and we're seeing that affect companies like Nvidia with, moves like that on $100 billion investment. Could Nvidia cool off here? Cool. Yeah, it might. And the reason we're not really super concerned with if Nvidia goes up or down here, even though I did mention on a weekly chart it looks sensational if it can get over this line here, and you can use that as a risk. It just makes you want to lick your chops seeing a risk reward opportunity like that. But this is the main entree right here. GEV off of this sort of level here, going back to, this is a high volume close. You can see there's a lot of volume here. So when this closes here, it establishes a level that when the price gets above there, which it's sort of flirting with that level right there, you can use that level as risk because there's a lot of people who bought here. We can actually see all the volume at this price over on the right side of our chart. So that's a great pivot opportunity, because where the most people have bought, the most shares have transacted, that means there's going to be the most activity at that price in the future. When people, are down and then suddenly they're break even again, they might sell, or once they're all exhausted, there might be no more sellers to work through, and then we'll see a move to the upside, which of course is why we're looking at this stock right now in the first place. But I promise not to look at the chart anymore in this video. So for the people who love words and value, deep value, mind you, this is the company, and this is the comparison with the most close peers, the closest peers, to be grammatically correct, that just went up. Bloom Energy and Plug Power, okay? Bloom Energy does this solid oxide fuel cell technology. F-Cell also has been doing all right. I'd go look at the chart, but I just made a promise. Plug Power is also in the alternative energy space in fuel cells. So GEV is important because sustainable energy is important and tied into data centers, because wind and solar are super intermittent. So you do need for data centers power that runs 24/7. But people don't really love nuclear yet. So what we kind of have is this hodgepodge of no silver bullet of, a little bit of coal, a little bit of gas, although the big AI companies don't like to talk about that because that's not cool. So we have wind and solar, and then we need sort of infrastructure to smooth that out and connect it to the grids, because the grid has to match, demand and supply have to match every single moment of every single day. That's how your lights stay on. So they're a huge company. They sold a software division to this private equity firm for $600 million recently, and they have about a couple dozen billion of revenue. So they're definitely a leader. They're definitely at this super hot crossroads of power and AI. And now the question is, are there connections that make us even more bullish on this company? And they're connected with the incumbents, which is great, because at the end of the day, that's where I guess the majority of our power is coming from today. Someone's going to have to fact check me on that, depending on where exactly you're located in the US. You might have more wind and solar if you're in like Texas or Colorado, but a lot of these data centers are not in Colorado. They're in, they're going to be in states that are a little more open to industry, you could say. So you have to think that GEV is going to be involved in those data center build-outs. I know OpenAI today just had an announcement for an expanded build-out, I think in Texas, actually, coincidentally. They do have partnership with AWS, which has been the juggernaut for 20 years or more. And they do have this sort of collaboration with Nvidia for optimizing data centers, which of course Nvidia is about as close to the metal as it comes. And this is, it's not surprising they're mentioned in collaborations with them, big research, important research institutions. But this is, of course, the hot connection is with Nvidia, because Nvidia had that investment in OpenAI, and because it sounds like wind and solar are going to be extremely important, GEV is going to be relied on heavily. So everyone likes to talk about eco-friendly power. Nothing better to champion. And the fact is that these nuclear companies are just not online yet, and it could be a couple years. And so, look, if you want to jump in, I can't resist. I have to look at the chart again. I'm sorry. If you want to jump in these nuclear companies at these prices, you can, but you have to keep in mind this company just more than doubled in a couple weeks or a week. So yes, Sam Altman invested $1 billion into this. So it's not surprising that it just went ape. But you have to say, in the next couple years, this is the safer play. Okay. I can't, in good faith, even on a YouTube stock idea, say go buy Oklo at this price when it just more than doubled. Okay. So these are big numbers. This is a very big number. And this is very soon. Okay. You don't really see nuclear timelines like 2026. So I think this is the right move. They are indirectly connected to OpenAI through, their existing collabs. And we know that their gas turbines are super sought after. They've been mentioned like 5 times in this ChatGPT summary here that I'm using as my financial analyst on demand here. But I don't know of a better company at this moment, this week. We're in the 3rd week of September. Depending on how you come across this video, you might come at a different time. But AI-ready data centers are getting there. They're not there yet. And there's going to be a lot of unsexy companies like GEV that are going to lead the charge. This company could go sideways for another week, and I think it would still probably look fine. And that's just not the case with a lot of other companies that I could talk to you about. I mean, this quantum company is going up even more when this barely has any revenue. And then you have famous celebrity sort of, the Mad Money type Jim Cramer, like the Tiger Cubs, except a little bit lower tier, just yelling about how quantum is overvalued. And we can't buy those. So I'll stop yapping as well. This is the ticker. That's the chart. We talked about what they do. If you like these sort of ideas, head over to stockscommunity.com. You can try it out for $25 for 7 days. See if it's worth it. Think of it as a little test drive welcome offer. Ask some questions that you may not be super comfortable to ask in a YouTube chat, or I don't know. We've got some brainy people in that community already, I can tell. So I'm excited to see how that grows and develops. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, hit that button. You'll get notified when these videos come out. And I will see you in the next one.
This is Sam Putnam.
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 This is Sam Putnam.